Hey guys, what is up? Welcome back to another episode of the Smart Flip. Today, guys, we have Daniel with us. Daniel is not even 18. Daniel, how old are you actually?
I'm 17.
17. Okay. So I wanted to bring Daniel on here. Me and Daniel have been talking back and forth for actually quite a while now, I think.
Yeah.
And I think you originally found me on YouTube, I believe, or the
Yeah,
Facebook.
it was either on YouTube or I saw, you were in like the Facebook groups and
Yeah,
but yeah, I mean, I definitely, see like, like your like short form content, stuff like that. Like, it always pops up. So
love it. Yeah,
yeah.
my marketing and all that.
Oh
People, you're in my funnel. But
yeah.
so, guys, I wanted to bring Daniel on today because Daniel's doing some amazing things, especially at such a young age. And I wanted to bring him on. I wanted to talk to him about it, and because there's a lot of people out there that have a lot of excuses about getting started, and Daniel didn't let any of that hold him back. He just ran with the information he found on YouTube and the Facebook groups, and he did. And I want to make sure I get this right. You did 120 devices last month.
Yep. From August to September 1st. Yeah.
It's amazing. At
Yeah.
17 years old, like
Yeah.
Matt, could you imagine like let's say moving 100 consoles at 17 years old? Imagine where you'd be now.
That's awesome. I love it. I love it.
Crazy.
I appreciate it.
Yeah. So, well, welcome back to another episode of the Smart Flip Guys, the Phone Flippers podcast. I'm excited to have Daniel on. We're going to be talking for about 45 minutes. By the way, if you want to be on this podcast, feel free to reach out to us. You can reach out to me on Facebook. You can send me an email or YouTube, whatever. And, if you kind of qualify to be on the podcast, then we'll get you on here. And if you have a business, we'll promote it. And looking forward to it. We don't promote scammers. So if you're a scammer, obviously stay away. I'll blast you in my group. But with that being said, let's get this thing started, guys. So, Daniel, how did you first get into phone flipping? Like, what was the aha moment that got you?
I'd say I wouldn't even say I really known about phone flipping. I was just I started off, mowing lawns like around my neighborhood, doing like, yard work. And I don't know, I honestly don't know what it was. I think I had like an old iPhone XR that I think I actually got from Marketplace because all my stuff, mainly phones I got from used. I never got a new iPhone. So I think I actually bought it from Marketplace and then I resold it back on Marketplace after I already used it for 6 months or whatever, and then I actually made a profit on it. And I think that was it. And then I see I've always saw like a lot of local stores posting phones. So yeah, I mean obviously it has to be a business. So and I started looking at deals, but I didn't even use buyer sheet, I guess you could say, like Atlas until probably this year, honestly. So but yeah,
Okay.
that was back probably when I was 13 or 14. And then I haven't really taken it serious until I found out that I was having my daughter. And then I have to do something, so that's when I took it full on. But
So you're 17.
uh-huh.
You got a kid.
Yeah.
And okay, I mean, hey, you're making it happen.
Yeah.
I commend that. Oh, we lost
For sure. Mm-hmm.
Oh, let him rejoin. What happened? We'll get him back on here in a minute, guys.
For sure.
All right, we'll edit this little part out for you guys. But as I'm talking about it, well, Matt, you and I'll keep on talking. Like,
for sure, yeah.
13 to 14 years old, like starting off in the business, mowing lawn. That's funny because I started mowing lawns whenever I was young. So
that's awesome.
I mean, I think that's kind of the gateway, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I love it, man. I think it's fantastic.
So looking forward to getting him back on here so you can talk a little bit more about that. But what I want to kind of preface this a little bit. Like, there's no excuses with this guy.
I mean, honestly, if he if he had any, he's, just run right past them, which I think is commendable and, massive respect because I did not have that level of focus at 17. I'm not sure what I was doing, like maybe playing soccer and video games.
Yeah. Oh,
Hey,
he's
sorry
back.
about that.
He
It
made it back.
crashed.
You're all good, dude. No, we were
Yeah.
just kind of talking about like having the level of focus and stuff you have at 13 and 14 years old. Like,
Oh yeah.
dude,
Yeah, no, I honestly, sometimes I think, it's something natural, but I mean, I don't know, honestly. I just, always had this fire inside of me, I'm gonna do something with my life, I don't know.
well, I mean, you also have a kid at a young age.
Oh
Like,
yeah. Big
and
responsibility.
like that, yeah, that's a big responsibility, especially at 17 years old. And
Hmm.
like, I and Matt knows this. Like, whenever you have a kid, that it ignites something in most men anyway.
Hmm.
Yeah.
To it creates that fit foe muscle, right? Like the figure it out muscle,
Hmm. Yeah, exactly.
um,
Fair. That's fair.
it's a real thing, right? Like that's where you stay up till 2, 3 a.m. making sure things get done, right?
Oh yeah.
But yeah, dude. So I want to ask really quick. So you started pretty early on with this.
Hmm.
When was the moment that you knew that this could actually like grow or scale?
I'd say honestly, like pretty recently, So I saved up, a whole bunch of money from doing, yard work and mowing lawns, and I had probably close to, 10 grand that, I just started with this, and then, I've been buying phones, ever since then. I think that was around like March of this year. So I mean, like I think I bought, like a couple phones throughout January to then, but I think it was minor, probably like 30 or 40. And I didn't even have like a spreadsheet or anything. So, like all the phones that, I bought or since I've been doing this full time, I guess you could say,
Yeah.
is, since March. So
Sweet.
so yeah.
Are you still in high school?
No, I unfortunately dropped out, but but I'm probably gonna get my,
Getting your GED?
yeah, it just kicked me out again or shut down or whatever. But yeah, I'm definitely gonna get my GED. Yeah.
Well, I mean, this is a really good business, right?
Mhm.
And the great thing is you don't even need a diploma to do it,
Of course, yeah.
which is a pretty awesome thing if you really look at it.
Mhm.
Like, it's funny because I went to college. I finished college. I did all the stuff.
Uh-huh.
And then, I ended up not doing anything with any of my college. And I
Yeah.
flipped phones and electronics for a living. And my parents were like, all right, we support you, but
Mhm.
you sure,
Yeah, of course.
yeah, I'm gonna go be an electronics flipper.
Mhm.
But like, hey, there's 6 figures there, like
For sure.
most people don't realize that. Like, it's funny. I was at my high school reunion a couple months ago, and they were like, "Are you still doing that phone flipping electronics thing?" I'm like, "Yeah, and teaching other people how to do it now too." And they were like, "Dang, it's been like almost 10 years at this point." So
Yeah.
awesome, man. So Daniel, let's talk about this. You don't have access
Mhm.
to space. You don't
Nope.
have access to a lot of the stuff that most adults have access to in this
Mhm.
business.
Yeah.
What does your current process look like? Like, what does sourcing phones and selling them actually look like?
Definitely like selling on the selling side, I do like 95% wholesale and business to business, like selling to other retailers or flippers or wholesalers, whatever you want to call them. But like marketplace moves too slow for me. If I only sold on marketplace, I'd still have phones from 6 months ago, you know what I mean? So and then buying, it's a whole lot of outreach on a marketplace and offer up and actually on eBay. So without verifying, you can actually buy on eBay, but the problem is selling because they want taxes and but so I mean in the beginning I actually was getting some decent deals on phones on eBay, especially carrier locks, because like the financing. I mean, people don't really pay well on eBay, or I guess I don't know.
Yeah.
But I was actually, getting like consistently, like I'd say 5 phones a week on eBay. But now it's, I barely check anymore. I think, the overseas buyers. So I've already taken it back, you know what I mean? But I don't
Yeah.
I'm not too sure, but
So, can you even run Facebook ads yet?
yeah, I do Facebook ads, yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
I was wondering.
Yeah.
Love that. So let me ask this: what was the biggest challenge that you faced early on with this thing?
I'd say is doing repairs, honestly, because a lot of mistakes, a decent amount of money lost doing it, but I got to a point where I was doing it, and then I got to the point where I'm getting so many phones I can't even do it unless I only want to do repairs. So now I'm sending them to or essentially I'm outsourcing them, all the repairs, mostly back
Oh,
glass,
wow. Okay.
cracked front. So now I just it's like automation. I just ship them all to him, and then I get them back, how they would be after.
Love that. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So what I'm seeing here is, and I want Matt to chime in here because Matt was a school teacher for a long time.
Nice.
I don't know what age group you taught, Matt, but did you see any level of like entrepreneurship in the guys you were teaching, or like that we're seeing kind of here with Daniel?
Yeah, well, there was a young man when I first started in the last location I was at. I was there for about 6 years, and he was into flipping sneakers, and so he would buy and resell sneakers, and he was a sophomore. And as far as I knew, he had been doing that for about a year and was like flipping about 3 to 5 pairs a week, which was pretty impressive. He was probably the most ambitious student doing anything like that. I did also each year I would take one day out of the year and teach the guys about what I did as a side hustle. I would just literally tell them how to do it in a class. And I had one kid that sold like over $6,000 in Legos. He just flipped all the Legos he had in his house as a kid, and it just so happens they were all from like the early 2000s, and so he cashed out and made like $6,000, and a couple other guys sold some things locally, but no, never on the scale of what you're doing now, Daniel. Like, I mean, obviously, I think also it's important to note there's like an impetus, like there's this thing that is like provoking you to also push further, because
Exactly. Yeah.
there's nothing that will make you strive as hard as when somebody else is reliant upon how hard you strive.
Of
And
course. Yeah.
so when you have somebody else going, "Hey, Dad, where you at, dog? Like, help me out." Like that's real. And
Yeah.
I think in a lot of reasons, it's a good. It forces you to, I think, be creative and more effective than you've ever been. And um, it sounds like being your age in the position you're in, no question, sounds challenging, but also sounds like, man, you're meeting that responsibility with a
Oh
whole
yeah.
lot of heart. And
Oh yeah.
like Chris said, I think that's tremendous. Um,
Thank you.
what is like? Do you think this is fun? Do you like flipping? Like,
Oh yeah.
what do you think about that?
This is my life. This is all I wake up and do. Honestly, I mean, obviously apart from being a dad, I love that, but
Yeah,
you know,
yeah,
but business. This is it. But
Love that.
okay,
yeah.
yeah,
My like Zoom thing is, it's like spinning. It says not responding, but I'm gonna just leave it how it is because everything's so good. But yeah, I
I
don't
hear
know.
you.
I think it's yeah.
yeah. We can
I'm
hear you
honestly
fine,
not sure.
bro.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool. But
Um, yeah. So like you're in this, you're doing this thing,
mhm,
like obviously like Chris and I talk a lot about this, but I'm gonna kind of default to Chris here because phones is his thing and I'm kind of more of the console guy. But like as far as like scaling,
mhm.
like what is kind of your intention of where you would like to see business go in, say, the next like 6 months to a year? Like what do you just want to like hold steady and find like a nice kind of work-life balance, or do you want to like expand your business, or what's your thoughts about that?
I mean, yeah, I'd say, I'm definitely just looking to, keep, doing what I'm doing, but, just more quantity, and
Uh-huh.
like, just play the volume game, honestly, because I think, within 6 months to a year, I can be doing, 200 phones a month, or maybe, 250 phones a month, so.
I think that's, I mean, if you can do 120 already, like,
Mhm.
and I mean, you can't do that without doing all of the basics quite well.
Of course.
Then I think that, scaling up to like 250 is like, okay, I can double my output by bringing in, I can delegate this stuff. I
Mhm.
can systematize, these things over here, and that'll
Mhm.
free up more margin for me to just source product and find more
Yeah.
inventory, which I think is like super, super reasonable. I have
Mhm.
another question for you then. Like, so what would you say to people that like think phones are especially scammy and or dealing with people, and flipping phones feels especially scammy and it hits different than consoles. I will tell people that, but I think phones is like some of the fastest, best flips out there. What would you say to people that are reluctant to start reselling or flipping phones because they think, you know, because they think it's scammy? Well, let me rephrase this question. What do you think are some of the bigger challenges that people will have to overcome if they want to start doing well reselling phones? Like some of those initial challenges that you faced, and maybe help people kind of navigate through that a little bit.
I'd say like, a lot of people are gonna say no, that's just part of the game. If you just gotta keep, keep at what you're doing, and it'll
Yeah,
eventually work out. Um some people like, they need money today to do whatever that they're trying to do, so they don't have an option. But some people, they like they don't necessarily need the money, so they won't
yeah,
accept their offer. So there's just always going to be a percentage of people who won't and who will accept your offer. So I think that, as long as you keep on doing it, it's going to pay off.
I want to highlight what he just said there. There's
hmm,
always going to be a percentage of people that will say yes and no.
Yeah.
that's true.
There's always a percentage,
Yep.
always.
Mm.
And like I tell people this all the time whenever they first start doing this, is you're going to get told no a lot, and that's okay. All you
Uh-huh.
need is 3 out of 100 people, or even
Yeah.
2 out of 100 people. Oh, we
Yeah,
lost. His internet's rough, I guess. But
it's okay.
I want to like highlight what he just said is like it's all a numbers game, guys. Like everybody
Yeah.
watching right now, everything is a numbers game here in this business. Like if you do 100 reach outs a day, the likelihood that you're going to get 0 phones is actually unlikely. Like I was talking to somebody bought my ebook the other day,
Okay.
and I called him up and I was like, hey man, congratulations on getting the ebook. What do you like so far about the ebook? And he was like, well, I'm naturally an introvert, but I like the go for no thing that you teach. So this is something I actually learned in door-to-door sales. It's like
Hmm.
the goal should be no. You want to aim to get 20 no's for the day from
Hmm.
the
Hmm.
doors. And at that point, the yeses actually start getting in the way. Like the goal has shifted at this point, right?
Right.
Like
Yeah.
the goal is now, yeah, tell me no. I can go home sooner,
Hmm. Hmm.
But
Yeah.
um that's the game, right? Like if you just go for no, it's hard to lose. Um,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
like Daniel was saying, there's always going to be a percentage of people that are just going to say yes. That's just
It's
how the
Yeah.
true.
game works. So
True. The cool thing is there's a resilience muscle that I feel like everybody develops in this business. You can't be effective or successful at it without it. And like the eventual yes is going to happen.
Hmm.
Um, and the cool thing is I think then once you start to get those yeses, the experience stacks up. It compounds to where
yeah,
like you now have, let's just call it experience interest, right? And
oh my gosh,
the the experience interest
zinger!
of what's that?
It's a zinger right there. Experience interest.
But I
Hmm.
think like it's the thing in your mind that no, it's the confidence that tells you you're going to get paid before you get paid. It's like, all right, this guy didn't pay me, but I'm going to go talk to 3 more people, and I almost could bet one of them is going to work out because you
Yeah.
just have all those reps in the game that like tell you. It's like like when I'm flipping consoles and people like first get their first Valve Index or Oculus and they're like, what do I do with it now? And then I see them sell it and then they get that eBay ching ching, right?
Hmm.
And they make let's say they make like $100 and they bought it for 50 and they immediately double their money. And then it's like I immediately see the twinkle in their eye. Like, they're that much more capable of plowing through the next series of no's just to get that next item because they've experienced that little taste of winning. And
Hmm.
I'm curious, what did that snowball effect look like for you early on, Daniel? Like what was it like um maybe kind of hitting that wall of that barrier of resistance that we all hit starting off and reselling? And when did it first start to click? Like, I think I've got something here. I think I can actually do this for real. Like, what was that like for you?
I'd say like when I first started flipping when I was, younger, like 13, 14.
Uh-huh.
I'd say it was, because I was only doing, strictly local business. So, I would, buy a phone off someone from, let's say, OfferUp, and then I'd post it back on Marketplace. And
Yeah.
I think it was like a SE2 or something, because I was actually buying from another reseller. So, he was, getting them pretty consistently.
Yeah.
And I think I paid like I don't know, like $80 at the time, or $100, something like that. And I think I resold it
Uh-huh.
for 150, or like 170, something like that.
Yeah.
So um I figured, if I do this, 2 or 3 times in a day, I mean,
Yeah.
that's pretty good, honestly. And but then again, the resistance was, I don't have, $500 maybe to, buy 2 or 3 at one time, you know what I mean? So
Yeah. And how long before you really kind of like got to that sort of bandwidth where you're like, oh, I actually have some cash. I can buy like more product. Like, was that
that
like, were you
was
15, 16? Like, how did
uh
that
that
sort of like progress for you?
that was definitely this year. So
Okay.
yeah, because I wasn't doing. It keeps kicking out.
You're
No,
good,
I
man.
Maybe.
can still hear you.
Oh, okay,
We
okay,
got you. Keep going.
okay. But yeah, so I wasn't really doing it seriously back then. I'd say, this year is when I, took it, like, full time, like, no other option, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
um sorry, what was like the question?
So,
Sorry.
so no, it's okay, man. It's all good. So like, I was just kind of curious about like the
Mhm,
progress of like starting to make real money and just kind of
mhm.
like the realization hitting you like, oh my gosh, like this is not like monopoly money anymore. This is like, at what point like did you start to see yourself make some serious dollars? You said it was
um
this year, but could you be more specific? Like what did you start doing? Like what were you selling? What kind of connections did you feel like you were making where it's like, okay, I just made $500, $800, $1,000? Like,
I'd say probably Facebook ads, but I mean, a lot of the business, even to this day is, repeat business. So,
yeah,
one guy might bring me, 10 devices, that could be, $500 right on the spot. So,
sure,
but I'd say
man.
probably like probably like the fifth month of this year, so January, March, May probably was when,
Okay.
I started, consistently making probably, $200 a day, or $150 a day, which I,
Wow.
at that time, is more than my dad. So it's really, inspiring, or
Man,
not,
that's awesome.
inspiring, but it's
No, yeah.
it's
Inspire yourself, brother. Excuse me,
motivational.
guys. I
Yeah.
got to plug in my laptop. Hold up.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, um, dude, um, once you turn 18, do you think this thing is going to kick off
Oh
like
yeah.
crazy?
I think so, because I was saying the same thing before, I got my car, because I was probably doing, 30, 40 devices a month, maybe 50, like on a peak month. But
And you didn't have a car?
no, I just got my car probably a month ago, and
Dude,
that's when I did, 120 phones. So I think
okay.
it's only up from here, but
All right. Hold on.
Oh,
I gotta like
wow.
speak to the audience here real quick. Like a lot of you guys that are listening to this are making the excuses right now. I don't have a car. I work a full-time job. I blah 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 blah. Right? Like literally every excuse under the sun. This kid didn't have a car.
oh yeah.
He isn't even 18 yet, so no access to eBay, and he's still kicking a lot of y'all's butts that are
Yeah.
20 plus, 30 plus years old.
Yeah.
Like,
And
I just have to throw that out there because, like,
yeah.
this is awesome.
Yeah, I
You're
appreciate
you're also not super diversified, Daniel. Like,
it.
think about it. You're
Yeah,
you're doing this essentially with like one product, you
yeah,
know?
yeah.
Like, as far as like the electronics game, like there's so much more opportunity out there of other things and bridges you can build.
Oh yeah.
And I mean, you could be 18, 19, 20 years old, and this could just be a full-fledged business for however long you want it to be. And
Yeah.
I'm excited because the upside from here to be 17 and be in the position you are, I think some people might look at this and go, oh, is this guy? I don't think you're behind much of an eight ball at all because you've just you've just kept grinding and scrapping, and you've kind of carved out a space for yourself already. And I think that's going to reward you really handsomely moving forward. Obviously, you don't need me to affirm that or tell you that, but
Oh,
it just
I
makes me,
really appreciate
yeah,
it.
it makes me go back and think about what if I knew then what I know now, right, Chris?
Yeah, for real, man.
Yeah,
Right,
exactly.
Chris? But
Well, if
yeah,
you look
okay.
back, if you look back with that information, you're like, what actually becomes the greatest asset the more knowledge you gain, like, is time. Like,
Yeah,
that's the most valuable asset when you have the knowledge, right?
Mhm.
yeah,
Because then you can, like Daniel, you're 17. Like, you were born in the early 2000s.
Oh
We
yeah.
were born,
Oh
me and
seven.
Matt were born in the 1900s, right?
Yeah.
So,
whoa, whoa.
right. It was funny. I was at the grocery store the other day and somebody tried to card me. I was like, I was born in the 1900s, man. Like, he's like, oh, okay, bye. I was like,
Yeah.
bye.
Makes me feel like I showed up in a covered wagon or something.
Right?
I was
Yeah.
born in
But
1900.
like, when you have knowledge early on, your greatest asset is then time.
Yeah, to put it into work. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Like, find something that works. I was listening to a Hormozy quote the other day, and he's like, find something that works and then do it for
Mhm.
36 months
Yeah.
without stopping. And I
Yeah.
was like, that hit. And I was like, oh man, like, put in 1,000 days,
Mhm.
Yeah.
You're there. I mean, you have and you haven't even tapped all of what could be in this market
Yeah.
yet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I'm
So
super
like,
excited. But
sorry,
yeah.
go ahead, Daniel. Go
Oh
ahead.
no, I was just gonna say, I'm super excited, when I turn 18 to, see where I can take this. But I mean, like a couple months ago, I'm just dying to turn 18. Like, I feel like I'm being held back so much by, just a stupid age when, I feel like like, I just don't understand it, but, there's nothing I can do about it. It's not my fault, my parents, you know what I'm trying to say, but
Yeah. Well, now you got me curious. Like, when are you going to be 18?
it's gonna be January 23rd is when I turn 18. So only a couple
Okay.
months. Yeah.
Not too bad.
Yeah,
Um,
4 months. Yeah.
yeah. Uh, so like, I would also, if you don't mind sharing, like geographically in the U.S., where are you located, dude?
I'm in Florida. I'm about an hour from Tampa in a
Oh,
Okay.
city called Newport Richey. So
good area.
yeah.
Okay. Cool. Yeah. I
Yeah,
think,
no,
sometimes people like to spell out limitations for themselves too, because they think, I don't know if I'm in an area, is your town,
of
how, is it a
course.
decent sized town?
Actually, it's very underpopulated. I'd say, like, Tampa, of course. I've been actually thinking about, just driving out to Tampa for a day, right in the morning and just sit there all
Heck yeah.
day and, and just buy
Yeah.
phones. But
Right.
and I think in Newport Richey, which is the city I live in now, I think it's like 17,000 people. So, it's not like crazy
What?
populated. Yeah,
It's not a
yeah,
big town.
yeah,
Yeah.
no,
Wow.
yeah,
That's
Yeah.
wild, man. Like,
yeah,
So,
seven. I mean, look, he just said something that a lot of you guys complained to me about.
yeah,
Oh, there's only 10. There's 50,000 people in my area. All right, cool, man. Well, that means there's 50,000 phones. Like,
exactly.
like, can
It's
you
not
buy them
more.
all?
Yeah.
Like, so, like, I want to ask a question there. You did 120 devices last month
Uh-huh.
in a town of 17,000 people.
Yeah.
Like, dude, that's wild. Like,
Yeah.
that's
I
just
actually
hustle.
yeah, I actually think it's because, like, I remember you were saying earlier, like, 3 out of 100, or, I think my close rate is probably close to like 20%, honestly, on like Facebook. Like, it's probably like 1 in 5, 1 in 10. Like, there's
that's good.
yeah, I
That's
mean,
awesome.
there's always gonna be people that, no, sorry, I'll just wait, until I get my asking price, but
For sure.
I'd
Yeah.
say it's, I'm very aggressive. I always follow up with people. So I think, I'm doing, as much as close as much as I can. So
Yeah.
So where did
Yeah.
you learn a lot of like what you're using right now? Like, was it just trial and error? Was it YouTube? Was it Facebook groups? Like, what was it?
I think honestly a lot of it was, like stuff like what you do. Like I was watching like podcasts, like probably like 2 or 3, at night, and like, I was really, taking it, like heavy, like, and
Yeah.
I'd say a lot is also, Facebook groups, like, people always, posting tips and, stuff that happened to them, or, stuff to look
Yeah.
out for, you know what I mean? And like, there's just, always great people in there. for the most part, except for, the scams and stuff that are posted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
Love that.
Yeah. So what's been one of the sweetest flips you've had so far? Like what was like a really good day for Daniel?
I think it was actually, well, I mean, there's, tons, but one day I bought these two,
Okay.
sorry. I bought these two
So many
MacBook
good
Air.
days. I can't pick one. No, go
Yeah,
ahead.
yeah. No, like honestly, like when you said that, like not even one, like, came to my mind, but I bought these two MacBook Airs, 15-inch, and he also had this iPhone 15, which was like unlocked in the box, like,
Mhm.
basically brand new. It was like A grade or like A minus, whatever. But
Yeah. Yeah.
I think I paid like 350 for the iPhone 15 and like maybe like 550 or 600 for the MacBooks. And I think I sold them, like, the MacBooks for like seven something each, and then I sold the iPhone for like 550, five
Nice.
sixty, something like that. But I mean, that's just, mini. I can look at my sheet and, see if I can see it, anything else, but that's like, probably one that came up to my mind.
But
I
that
mean,
was
that's awesome.
just another Tuesday flipping down
Yeah.
near Tampa.
Yeah, love that. Oh, lost him again.
Oh,
I wanna actually, like, while he's jumping back on, probably still on his parents' Wi-Fi. But
So-
like, I wanna
Wow.
highlight something real quick while we're waiting for him to pop back.
Yep.
Guys, a lot of the limitations that you guys
Bro.
like create for yourself are he's blown past them, at
Yeah.
17 years old, which is wild to me. And I love to see it, actually. Like, and I'm sure there's many other. I mean, we just had court on a couple of weeks ago, and like he's 18, like,
Yep.
18 years old, absolutely crushing it. And there's some young flippers out there, and it's time to get to work, my friends.
Indeed. Yeah. I think if you really want to if you feel like the chips are stacked against you, first of all, you got a young man who, oh, there he is. Let's let him back in the call. Hey, bro.
Hey, what's up? Sorry. I was talking
good.
and I didn't realize it cut off, so I don't really know, where I left off, or
It's all good. We were just kind of
Um,
talking about a lot of limitations that people put on themselves that you're just kind of blowing past.
okay.
And it's
Yeah.
it's cool to see it. Like,
Yeah.
So I think, and we'll wrap up this here in a minute, but what is some advice that you would give to someone who's just starting out and wants to start the side hustle? Like, what's the advice you would give them?
I'd say, like honestly, I mean, you could start with $50, $100, buy your first device, and, see if it's for you, which I can almost assure you it will be once you do it, because it's like, printing money out of air, or but
Yeah. Really.
I'd say, all you really got to do is try it, like, you can watch videos all day, but, you won't get the same satisfaction, from actually doing it. So, but,
Mhm.
and then I'd say, from there, you just have to, multiply with your input, to, hopefully get a greater output. But
Yeah.
I'd say, a lot of it is just, being consistent, doing the same thing every day, or, for the most part every day, if you can. But I
What does
mean,
that
for
look
me
like for you?
personally, it's every day. I'm on my phone, texting people back, texting people about buying, texting people about selling. I'd say for easy, like, I'm probably putting in 12-hour days every day,
Hmm.
But
That'll pay off in the
Yeah.
long run, though.
yeah, yeah.
It's
5 years of
it's
hard
true.
work, 10 years of hard
Yeah.
work for, 50 years of, so,
Well, I think there are seasons of intensified focus. Nobody does it all the
of
time.
course.
But clearly anybody who's done this and carved out any sort of space where they can, whether it's reselling phones like yourself or consoles like some of us do, or cameras like some of our other students do, or whatever, everybody niches down to something that they kind of like and
Mhm.
they've also found especially profitable. But nobody discovered that by accident. It was a season of intensified focus, whether it was, 90 days of where I'm just going to pound the pavement and do this,
Mhm.
or 6 months of, kind of trial and error and making some mistakes. Or for me, it was more like 2 years of just trying to figure out consoles while I'm teaching full time. Like, you figure that out, and then like what was difficult then becomes easy because now you have all this muscle memory, you know what I mean? And you have all
Yeah.
this bandwidth to absorb the challenges, to think through the problems that before maybe it would have bothered you, but now you like they don't bother you. Like I'm sure when people tell you no now, you're like, cool, I expected you to say no. Next.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And also like, sorry, my daughter's trying to talk to me while I'm doing a
Oh no,
podcast.
you're good.
Chris, you don't know what that's like having your
No,
kids
I
talk
don't
to
know
you
what
while
that's like at all. Daddy, help
um
me figure out the zombies on Minecraft.
but yeah, so Daniel, maybe like as like a few quick closing thoughts, what did you feel like were some of those like limiting beliefs or some of those like barriers that maybe irritated you on the front side of this that now just feel like it's another thing? Like what are
I'd
some of the
say
things you feel like you really broke
I'd
through?
say like the
Go ahead.
number one issue, and I'd say even some flippers get this today is like they feel like that they're not going to get a phone a day, but
Uh,
I just continue to check marketplace every 10 minutes, offer up because the good deals are going to go fast, so if you're only checking it once every 3 hours, it's very the chance of you finding a good deal is a lot lower than if you're consistently checking it for every new post in your area, which I mean, my area is actually like very like there's not a super high amount of phones that are posted to marketplace. I'd say it's like even some days like there's maybe even one or two, and they're way overpriced. But some days there's 10 new phones that are posted within an hour, and so
yes.
yeah. So some days are just going to be slower than others, and that's just how this business works. But eventually when you get to when you get to a certain point, when you're consistently getting the same amount of devices,
Yep.
it's kind of hard to not be consistent.
Yeah. No, that's good.
Yeah.
On that note, like, so you're in a town of 17,000 people. Do you have any competition in your area?
Yeah, there's a couple, Chris Andrew. Yeah, he's
No, Chris.
he's a big guy. I was trying to get him to do my ads, but he was like, sorry man, I'm already doing ads in your area. So kind of sucks honestly, because I was happy to see where that could take me, but
I'm a big fan of so I got 3, 4, 5 of my students in my area.
oh nice.
5.
Yeah.
And you know what we do? We collaborate. Hey man, this guy's in Katy. I don't want to drive 45 minutes. Can you pick it up?
Yeah,
Hey, this guy's in Lake Jackson, Tyler. Can you grab it? Like, and then we just split the profit, right? So I'm a big fan of like, there's not competition, there's collaboration, right? So I think a lot of people limit themselves by, thinking it's really interesting to me actually. Like, there's more phones than there are people.
Of course. Yeah.
How can there actually be competition?
Indeed.
Yeah.
So like that's always been a big mind blowing. Like this actually dawned on me a few years ago, whenever I was in Beaumont, Texas, a city of 200,000 people. I had 3 other phone flippers in my area, and I was sitting at my dining room table, and like I was like, why can't I get more phones? And I've been doing this for like 6 months, and it dawned on me like. I was like, there's 3 other flippers in my area. They're taking my deals and they're this, that, and everything else. And then I looked up our population size and I was like, there's 200,000 people out here. There's like 3 phone flippers. Damn. There's no, like, those guys aren't my competition. Like, there's no way they could be. All I have to do is actually just find more people. And that's it, And yeah, I don't even believe competition exists in our stuff. Especially once you like go out from just iPhones and into Samsungs and consoles and different things like that, it just makes you more valuable to the customer.
Yeah.
So it's funny, like yesterday, Matt Spencer, he was on our last podcast. He was doing reach outs on Xboxes and he found somebody in my area and he closed them. and he's like, hey, just send me the games and we'll call it even. And I'm like, say less. Like awesome. $110 for an Xbox Series X, something like that, 1X. So, I mean, it's all collaboration at the end of the day, in my opinion. And if you can get that to work for you and yourself, then win, But
Totally.
Matt, are there any last questions you want to ask?
Let me think. So, Daniel, I would be curious, like, what would you say to anybody right now that thinks that this area is like too saturated, or you know what, there's too many people in the game. Like, what would you say to anybody who's, just kind of like doubting the possibilities, or, kind of limiting themselves by not starting right now? What do you think about that? What would you say to those folks?
I would honestly, just say that, you just have to put yourself out there, like, maybe their reviews, or, their,
Lost him again.
Bummer. He'll be back. He'll be back, guys.
We'll be back for closing.
Yeah. He'll close about closing.
I really like this one.
This is good. This is really good.
I think it's because, like, for all of you guys listening, the limiting beliefs, they should be shattering at this point. Like, small area, 17 years old, no access to eBay. What other limiting things are there? Oh, no car for most of his flipping altogether, what else? Like,
and he's I think that, he still has plans maybe to finish schooling, but who knows? Like, he decided to do career earlier than a lot of people, and so no college, right? Partial high school, no car, small space, 17. The list keeps going, right?
Yeah, I mean, like, there's just so many, like, limiting beliefs that are being shattered by this. It's wild.
It really is.
What's up, Daniel?
Hey, sorry. Yeah, it cut out again, and while I was talking, it just goes black. So I'm like, "Am I here, guys?" Or but yeah, you can, I can just answer the question. Yeah, I mean,
go for it. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'd say, you just have to, put yourself out there. Like, their social presence, might be helping them, or getting them more customers, but I don't think it stops you from, starting, or being able to do it. I just think, if you just, do it 100%, don't half try it, but, actually try it, you'll actually, get results, eventually,
Absolutely.
So I'm just curious, I should have asked this at the beginning, but out of those 120 devices, what was the sales and profit on that?
I can check. I can, like, pull up, like, the total amount that I paid.
Yeah, I mean, just like round.
Yeah, I think I did the numbers last night. I think, like, from the devices that I sold from August 1st to yesterday was, I think, like, $6,500 profit. But I can see really quick.
Man, at 17 years old, I wish I was making $6,500. I was not doing that.
Bro, my brain would have popped. I wouldn't know what to do myself, man. I would have been like, what?
So last month I spent $30,386 in inventory, which, some of them have sold, some of them haven't. So
nice. That's awesome. So
I mean,
sounds like you're still sitting on a good amount of inventory.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I sold a decent amount. I just got like 10 phones back from the person I mentioned that I outsourced repairs to. So I was trying to get those sold, before the market continues to drop, because, the 16, but
yeah.
Nice, dude. It's awesome. Good stuff, man. Well, I wanna wrap this up, but appreciate you coming on, Daniel.
And of course, man.
I think you shared a ton of, like, massive nuggets today that'll help people actually get started in this business, especially the younger people, and then even some of the older guys that me and Matt typically work with that are in their 20s and 30s, and they have a lot of those same limiting beliefs that you kind of just shattered here today.
Yeah. Listen, guys, if I can do it, anybody can do it, honestly.
Love that.
I think so. Yeah.
Tell them.
Well, guys, this has been another episode of the Smart Flip. If you want to be on this podcast, feel free to reach out to me. We'll vet you and all of that good stuff. And then, guys, if you're looking for, any, resources or anything like that, definitely check out the rest of the YouTube channel. There's obviously a ton of resources in the description below. We have I have like 5 or 6 just free things that you can download, calculators, price sheets, things like that. And then obviously watch the rest of, the other podcasts. And then if you're looking to scale your business, feel free to reach out to me about Recelerator. It is a invite only type of program where we help people scale 5, 10, 20K a month in profit. And then recently we launched Console Kings as well. So that's only $97 a month. That's Matt's thing. He's the coach behind that one, and people are actually crushing it in that program. We just had, what was it, Omar, who did like, what did he make? Something like that.
He messaged me yesterday. He said, "Hey, I did over 4,500 in eBay sales my first month, and he's already done over 1,800 this far into the month of September."
That's awesome. And
So,
the profit margins on consoles is much higher than phones too. So
crazy. Yeah, it's awesome.
Well, guys, this has been another episode of the Smart Flip. Make sure to check out the resources below, and I'll see you guys on the next podcast.
Yeah.
Peace out,
Hey,
guys.
Daniel, thank you, bro.
Yeah, of course,
thanks
man.
for coming
Thank
on.
you, guys. Yep, of course.